This is a subject that everybody has an opinion on, stress. And when you talk to everyone, or different people, everyone has a different interpretation of stress. Some people consider stress where they have absolutely no time, they're rushing around. Others are overwhelmed. Others become fearful. So today, let us take some time and just understand stress, because we all face and live stress in one way, shape, or form. So let's try and understand it, and then let's go through very simple techniques of being able to manage stress in our lives, because there's good stress and bad stress. Not all stress is bad. So let's help ourselves identify which ones are bad ones, and also through a practical process which I'll share with you, become aware of it and consciously continue to manage your way through and out of what is unhealthy. The goal of our class today is basically to learn these simple and helpful techniques, practice them daily, with the goal of slowing down our racing minds, releasing the built up negative energies from stressful situations that we have been in that are of an unhealthy nature, and thirdly, to heal ourselves from the impact of this unhealthy stress. So let's see what the literature says, because there's a lot of interesting stuff on it. Of course, if you go and look up stress, you'd spend days reading. But I've kind of narrowed down what I think is pertinent for what we're going to learn today. So some of the definitions from published literature of stress are that stress is your body's response to anything that requires attention or action. So it's the way your body responds to anything that requires attention or action. So that is present every moment in our lives. Therefore, we're exposed to stress every moment. Then we go to stress can be defined as any type of change that causes physical, emotional, or psychological strain. So something that a change that causes physical, emotional, or psychological strain. Then the third important point is that stress is the feeling of being overwhelmed or unable to cope with mental or emotional pressure. So this is where we're looking at some of the adverse aspects of stress. And stress causes chemical changes in our body, which can raise our blood pressure, our heart rate, our blood sugar levels. So it may also lead to feelings of frustration, anxiety, anger, or depression. So stress is definitely a very powerful force that we have to learn to manage and work our way through. Now, everyone experiences stress to some degree most of the time. But the way you respond to stress makes a big difference to your overall well-being. If you respond to stress where you let it consume you, it's going to hurt you very badly. If you respond to stress in a proactive way where you keep pushing away the negative impacts, you'll work your way through the same problem but without hurting your body. So let's learn a bit about those. Now, there are four common types of stress according to the literature. So one is time stress. Lots to do, not enough time. Everybody will attest to that. The other is anticipatory stress, where we are not patient enough to wait for the outcome of things, so we keep anticipating, we keep running scenarios in our minds, and that anticipation causes us stress. Then there is situational stress. So when you are in a situation where things are changing rapidly, things are happening that are of a disturbing nature, we are stressed. And then there is encounter stress, which is more to do with encounters between people. And during conversations, things are said, things happen that trigger us, and therefore encounter stress becomes an issue. So these are the four general types of stress, but I think we're all aware of those. Let's look at what are the main causes of stress. And typically they include financial problems, work, personal relationships, parenting, daily life and being very busy, personality and resources, unmanaged health or mental health problems, racial inequities, perceived loss, and more. There's so many sources of stress. And then we look at what are the physical symptoms of stress. And these include aches and pains, chest pain or feeling like your heart is racing, exhaustion or trouble sleeping, headaches, dizziness or shaking, high blood pressure, muscle tension or jaw clenching, stomach or digestive problems. So you can see that stress manifests in our physical bodies in fairly harsh ways. And if we can prevent that manifestation, then we can live a lot more of a happier and fulfilled life. And that should be our goal. So, what are the typical stress triggers? Let's look at that. Feelings of stress are normally triggered by things happening in your life, which involve being under lots of pressure, facing big changes, worrying about something, and not having much control over the outcome of a situation. These are the four really key ones. I mean, all the other points I brought up before fit in here, which is being under lots of pressure, facing big changes, worrying about something, and not having any control over the outcome of a situation. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there is good stress and bad stress. What type of stress is good stress? So, good stress is the type of stress you feel when you're excited, your pulse quickens, your hormones surge, but there is no real threat or fear. That is good stress. You might feel this type of stress when you're on a roller coaster ride or competing in a game, or even when you go on your first date. That kind of butterflies in the stomach, that's healthy stress. People think that any type of stress is bad, but there's lots of good stress which motivates us to go out and do things and achieve and compete and accomplish. So good stress, is short term, and it inspires and motivates us and focuses us and for enhancement of our performance. Now, bad stress, on the other hand, is the kind that wears you out, leaves you jittery, and is harmful to your health. Bad stress, or in inverted commas, distress, can lead to anxiety, confusion, poor concentration, and decreased performance. And bad stress can be short term or long term. Now, short term stress does not take a heavy toll on you as long as you are able to find ways to relax quickly. But long term stress, which is chronic stress, when you repeatedly face these stressors, they can take a heavy toll on your body and can cause negative health effects. Now, both good and bad stress in your body release hormones that trigger common signs, as I said, butterflies in the stomach, racing heart, and sweaty palms. Ultimately, what distinguishes good stress from bad stress is how you react to the experience. If you react in a healthy way, without letting it get to you, without hurting you here, without hitting you at the core, then it's okay. If it does get to you, then it's bad stress. Now, according to the literature, stress becomes a problem when it starts to take over your life. And this is a very true statement. And the key to stress management is identifying the bad stresses in your life and developing healthy ways to deal with them. So first you got to know, what are they? And it's interesting, you may all think you know, but after we've been through today's class, you may find ways of actually digging deeper into the roots and actually getting those weaknesses out of you. Now, in the literature, they talk about a lot of different stress management techniques, and I said, all right, let me pull up a few that look interesting. And some of the recommendations are, number one, eliminate stress where you can. So they say learn to say no more often, because a lot of times we find it difficult to say no, and as a result, we keep getting more and more buried and stressed. The other one is pare down your to-do list. I mean, you have everything, 100 items on your to-do list. It's going to stress you. Avoid people who stress you out. So these are sort of great places to start. And once you learn to manage your own time more effectively, your stress level will go down. So this was one of their recommendations. The other recommendation was that accept that there are events that you don't control. Accept that. There are things in your life beyond your control, such as someone else's behavior. You can't control that. Instead of stressing about what you can't control, it is recommended that we focus on what we can control and how we react to the problem. That way, we're expanding our energy where it can be more effective. So, things that we cannot control, let's not waste our time trying to control it. The third is think positive thoughts. Now, negative thoughts can lead to negative behavior, while positive attitudes can help offset difficult situations. So make an effort to think positively or look for the upside in every situation. Even in a bad situation, there is an upside somewhere. Look for it. And whether you learn from your mistakes or you use major challenges as a time for personal growth, this is all a positive way. When something really difficult happens, I know I often ask myself, okay, it happened, therefore I'm supposed to learn something. The minute I start focusing on what I'm supposed to learn, the gravity of that situation or the amount of hurt it causes goes down. And in addition, thinking about all the things you appreciate in your life, including your own good qualities, this can also change your perspective. The fourth recommendation is get support. And it's suggested that you confide in family and friends or turn to someone professional, which is a good idea. Expressing how you feel can be therapeutic. And it's also important to express your feelings instead of bottling them up, because when you bottle them up, you become more stressed. The fifth one is add relaxation techniques to your everyday routine. Now, relaxation promotes overall health and gives you a chance to step away and clear your head. So that's healthy. And it doesn't have to be a big time commitment. It can be accomplished with deep breathing, relaxation exercises, meditation, yoga. These are not time consuming, but they're good things to practice. And we will learn a couple of short practices today as well. Then the sixth one is stay healthy and fit. So a well-balanced diet and staying active ensures your body is better prepared to fight stress. Exercise relaxes your body and mind while improving your mood. And in fact, physical exercise has been proven to play a key role in preventing and reducing the effects of stress. And finally, they say get a good night's rest. And getting enough rest is important because it gives your body time to recover from the stressful events and sets you up to fight new challenges the next day. So a good night's rest is very important. So now that we have a basic understanding of stress from what is in the public domain and the public literature, and we recognize its impact on our well-being, now let us focus on some practical steps we can all take to manage stress in a healthy manner in our daily lives. So we've had what is recommended everywhere. Let's now boil down to what we're going to practice for today. So based on my life experience and how I've been able to learn to manage stress, the things that have worked for me, I would consciously like to recommend a 4-step practical approach to consciously manage your state of mind and hence level of stress. So we're going to go through a 4-step, very practical approach. What are these steps? So you're in the middle of your day and you're feeling down, you're feeling upset, you're feeling stressed. So the first step is to consciously test your feelings. Test your feelings. The second step, release all the built up negative energy in you from the stress that you've just experienced. The third, diminish the influence of the source of your stress. And fourth, anchor your state of mind correctly in a positive state. So these are the 4. Test your feelings, release built up energies, negative energies, diminish the influence of the source of your stress, and anchor your state of mind in a positive level. So let us go through each of these 4 steps via the example of Sandra, a young engineer who is very stressed, overwhelmed, and scared. So how does Sandra use these 4 steps? 4 steps to arrive at an efficient way to manage this stress. So she goes to step 1. And step 1, which is test your feelings. Now, how does one test one's feelings? So during the day, when you're feeling anxious, for example, stop and ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? So you're consciously aware, I'm feeling anxious. Why am I feeling this way? When your spirits are deflated and you're feeling down, don't just stay down. Stop and ask yourself, why? Why am my spirits deflated? So you go into a solution stage. When you're feeling elated and super happy, check out consciously why. What is it that is making you elated? Understand the root cause of your feelings. When you're rushed off your feet, ask yourself, why am I rushing? Can I do this now and the other stuff later? Question your feelings, question your state of mind consciously, actively, continuously. And this makes you consciously negotiate your own schedule with yourself. For example, if you're rushed, you'll start negotiating your own schedule with yourself and go, okay, I'll do this now, I'll do that later. Suddenly you've removed the cover of the bottle, pressure is gone. So you then reach a more realistic schedule. So basically, step 1 says test your feelings throughout the day rather than remain stuck in the doldrums without even knowing why. And a lot of us go through this, whole day of feeling down and we don't even know why. So once you do this, you will find the root causes of the situations that are defining your state of mind without your control. This is very important. So step 1 takes you to defining the root causes of the situations that are defining your state of mind without your control. Then you can do something to take control of your state of mind when you know what these root causes are. So now Sandra does this because she's at step 1. So she asks herself, why am I feeling overwhelmed, anxious, and scared? And she ponders on these questions. Why am I feeling overwhelmed, anxious, and scared? And she gets 4 answers. The first answer she gets within herself is, you are trying to do way too much in a very short time frame. Okay? The second answer she gets is, your schedule is unrealistic. The third answer is, you feel left behind because you cannot keep up with others in your team. And the fourth is, if you cannot output what is needed, you may not get the promotion you want, or worse still, you may lose your job. These are the 4 answers that come out when she asks, why am I stressed? So answers 1 and 2 are constructive. You're trying to do way too much in a very short time frame. Your schedule is unrealistic. They make Sandra realize that she needs to revise her priorities and timelines. And she begins to devise a revised schedule by negotiating with herself. She is a smart girl, so she negotiates with herself a revised schedule and comes up with something that is more manageable. So answers 1 and 2 are healthy and constructive. They don't drag Sandra's spirits down. Now let's look at what answer number 3 does. You feel left behind because you can't keep up with others. This is not a good place to be because it makes Sandra anxious and hence overwhelmed. So she needs to get out of this state of mind because this type of thought is not constructive at all for what she needs to get done today. This is purely pulling her down. And now that she knows that this is one of the things she needs to overcome, she starts working to fix it. And then we come to the worst of the 4 answers. which is, if you cannot output what is needed in time, you may not get the promotion you want, and worse still, you may lose your job. This makes Sandra scared, and fear takes over. And the poor girl is not even consciously aware that this is what is happening to her, that she's getting engulfed in fear. But it's answer number 4. She's scared and anxious, and therefore she is incapable of thinking clearly. Now she has realized why she is overwhelmed, anxious, and scared from these 4 answers. And this realization is of critical importance. She has found the root causes of why she feels down. Next, she moves to step 2. Because now that she knows what she has to get rid of, she goes to step 2, which is release the built up negative energy. So Sandra goes into a quiet place and practices her alignment for stress release. And we will learn this technique in a few minutes and practice it together. And we'll try and master this technique. So she has already learned this technique, and she goes in a quiet place 3 or 4 minutes and realigns herself. And through the alignment, she gets rid of the built up energies that have accumulated in her body and mind because of her fear and anxiety. So this technique is a great tool we can use as often as we wish throughout the day. And once Sandra has aligned herself and she's now feeling light and free, she goes to step number 3. So she's gotten rid of this negativity. So now sometimes in the day, you may not be able to practice step 2 if you're in meetings or whatever and cannot excuse yourself and be anywhere else. Then you may often go straight to step 3, which is fine. What is step 3? Step 3 is a really key step. Diminish the influence of the source of your stress. So Sandra goes to answers 3 and 4 because she's recognized that the influence of those 2 answers needs to be diminished. Answer 3 is, you feel left behind because you can't keep up with others in your team. And answer 4 is, if you cannot output what is needed in time, you may not get the promotion you want. And worse still, you may lose your job. So Sandra then thinks of these 2 answers, which are the true source of her misery. And she asks herself, what is the worst that could happen? I lose my job? That's it? Maybe there are better jobs out there for me. Most importantly, I'm still alive. I have my education, my experience, my background, and I'm doing already the best that I can. And despite all that, if I lose my job, does the world end? Does life end? Do my loved ones disappear from this world? Of course not. Hence, Sandra realizes that she has made the consequence of losing her job so serious that it has actually become her Achilles heel. It has become her limitation. It has chained her to fear and sadness. So she lets it go with these powerful words, which I'd like you to remember. And she says to herself, this job is not important. It does not make me, nor does it break me. This job is not important. It does not make me, nor does it break me as a being. Okay? Remember these words, my dear friends. So you can use them in your own context where needed. I've used it so many times and it's worked for me because I find myself worrying about the gravity of something which I'm saying I'm already doing my best. Yes, if there's a better way to do it, I'll do it. But otherwise, why am I stuck to the fear of this consequence? This doesn't make me. This doesn't break me. When I was born with nothing. When I leave, I will leave with nothing. Everything in between is experience. So why am I letting this break me? So it's very important to remember these words. This is not important. It does not make me, nor does it break me. And you can apply it to whatever context you are dealing with where you've attached such a serious consequence to a happening or an event that it's completely become your Achilles heel, you've got to cut that. You've got to break that. Now, so, these words, they don't make you flippant or non-caring. They do the opposite. These words make you stop focusing on consequences and start focusing on solutions. So stop focusing on consequences and start focusing on solutions. When you focus on solutions, it's positive, it's strong, it's healthy. So you cut that cord with the consequences. It's not important. It doesn't matter. Doesn't make me. Doesn't break me. Cut the cord. And now see what you are able to do. And you're able to do 10 times more. Sandra becomes 10 times more capable because she's erased the fear of those consequences. Now she's at her best. And when she's at her best, she is very, very good. So Sandra has now diminished the power of the consequence of losing her job. And she has detached from the root cause of her fear. So she is relieved and she is at peace. And her spirits are restored. And she is now able to address her time management and prioritization challenges and all other challenges with clarity. So step 3 is something we all need to practice throughout our day, to untangle ourselves from our own self-built spider webs. We build webs around ourselves. We got to untangle them. We got to cut them. We got to detach. And then look at the situation and approach the same situation from a much better space. Then Sandra moves to step 4, which is anchor your state of mind correctly in a positive state. Now, her first step is to get into constructive mode by repeating to herself, now she's calm, she's clear, she's saying, let us come up with solutions. Let us come up with solutions. She's now orienting herself, preparing her mind and her being to come up with solutions. So she's dropped the fear part, she's dropped the doldrums, come up with solutions. This puts her in problem-solving mode, free of fear and anxiety. Next, she decides to anchor her state of mind. And she chooses to do this in clarity, the word clarity, as that's what she needs the most in this moment. So she closes her eyes and goes completely still and repeats the words stillness, stillness, stillness. And she goes completely still and calm. And now she's at that level where she can go and anchor herself in clarity. Now you can all learn to go still by practicing that short guided audio meditation, which I have on our website and on YouTube channel, which is called the Art of Stillness. So she practices this for 3 minutes, goes completely still, and then she anchors herself in clarity by repeating the word, I am clarity. I am clarity. I am clarity. So she's anchoring her state of mind in clarity. And so now she is in a full state of clarity. And she can focus on her required solutions free of stress. Now, my dear friends, we can choose to anchor our state of mind in whatever state we choose. For example, peace, happiness, abundance, clarity, love, compassion, contentment, and more. And there is I also have a guided audio meditation called the Art of Anchor Thought, which is on our website and on YouTube. Visit it, practice it, because it's very, very helpful, because now you choose to anchor yourself in a state of mind under your control, not under the control of anything else. So in conclusion, steps 1 to 4 are simple, logical, and practical steps we can all take to release our stresses and take control of our state of mind. And this self-dialogue we just learned through Sandra's situation is very healthy and proactive, because it prevents us from unknowingly sinking emotionally into the doldrums. So engage in this type of dialogue with yourself throughout the day. It is very helpful. So once again, to recap for you, the 4 steps are: test your feelings, Release all the built up negative energy, and we will learn the technique just now. Diminish the influence of the source of your stress. Cut those cords. And 4, anchor your state of mind correctly in a positive state, a state of your choice, not a state you're forced into. So now, let's now come to the Azuron alignment for releasing stress, which was step 2. And here we're going to learn about alignment of the sensory field to release all the built up negative energy from stress and restore our body, mind, and entire being to a state of peace and light. Okay, so this is the purpose of the short alignment we're going to do. Now, I have introduced the general Azuron technique and the 6 intelligence fields of the body many times in recent classes, so I won't repeat it again. But for those of you who are attending for the first time, please view the videos on healing anxiety, healing depression. The most recent one we just released was overcoming fear. View these videos because you'll get all the background, okay? And the 6 fields are well explained there. Now, today we will work with the sensory field, which resides between the center of the forehead and the base of our chin, between these 2 niches. These are 2 hollows, and this is where our sensory field resides. And the sensory field houses our 6 senses, which includes our eyes, through which we can see everything, our ears that enable us to hear sounds, our nose through which we breathe and also sense smell, our tongue through which we can taste our food, water, and everything else, our skin with all its senses through which we can sense touch, and finally the 6th one is our mind, which takes the outputs from all those 5 senses, puts them together, so the 5 senses of sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell, integrates them together to give us the human experience. So that's what happens in the sensory field, okay? Now let's summarize the sensory field with this simple illustration. So you've seen this illustration, so I'm going to share it one more time. So as you can see that this is the sensory field. It starts from the center of your forehead to the base of your chin. These are 2 niches. Actually, your body has 1 niche here, the 2nd niche at the base of your chin, the 3rd niche, which is the field of air, which goes from the base of your chin to the hollow in your neck. That's the 3rd niche. The 4th niche is in your solar plexus, in your chest area, which governs all the fluids, flows in your body, your heart, and all. So there's a field of air, there's a field of flow. And then the next niche, the 5th niche, is in the pubic area. So it is between the solar plexus and the pubic area, which houses your cleansing field. And finally, the last one is in between your feet, which is the earth field. So a lot is controlled by the sensory field. And actually, when you are stressed, it's interesting that many people store their negative energies of stress in different fields below. So some people store their stress energy and anxiety in this area, in the cleansing field. And when you're stressed, and if you put your hand on the side of your abdomen and you feel your intestines pulsing, that's where your energy is being concentrated, and then diseases follow from there. The worse, you begin to break down inner tissue, you get infections, things like colitis. They all have certain root causes. This is one of them. Some people store their stresses up here, and therefore you develop migraines and you get severe headaches, and you can keep popping all the pills you want, but the minute you're able to align and release this, your migraines go away. Others have it in the chest area, and you start feeling chest pain. Some cannot breathe properly, so the stress energy manifests here. So this is like a very important, delicate balance in the body. So far, we are focusing on the sensory field, but from here, all the other fields are impacted. And later, as we move on with the healing techniques, we will learn to align all these fields. But sensory field is sight, hearing, taste, smell, touch, and the mind. And all these create our awareness and our interaction of all the six senses. It also creates memories, it creates thoughts and emotions and causes them to flow to all the fields below. And therefore, when you're highly stressed, you do affect these fields. So now let's learn the key alignment steps for stress management. And it has 6 very simple steps. The first one is open the light field, which is from the center of your forehead into the universe. So you open this light field. Next, you open the sensory field and align it with peace. And then the third will be to release all built up negative energy from stress. So we will have a stage of aligning where we are releasing negative energy. The next, the fourth step is to invoke a state of zero thought in the mind. So you go down to, you stop all these noisy thoughts and you go down to zero. And that makes you very calm because once you release the negative energy, you go to zero thought. The fifth is to invoke clarity in the sensory field. And so we work with the word clarity and make ourselves reach that state of very pure clarity through which we can see things better, through which we can make better decisions, and we can resolve the challenges that are stressing us. And finally, the sixth one is to fill the whole being with peace, which will sustain us in that state of peace and clarity as we manage our way through stressful events. So firstly, let us start by opening our light and sensory field. Now, I've shared this technique with you before, and I've said it should be used as a daily reset button. So let's do a very quick recap. And I'm sure you will all remember this little diagram. So the light field starts in the universe, and you draw light from your source of creation into the center of your forehead. So it's the shape of a conical pyramid, and I've explained the fact that it has to have this shape because it goes to the smallest of the small and infinity here, and largest of the large and infinity here. So you draw light to the center of your forehead, and we do that with our hands. We draw light, and then we split our hands, then we go repeat light, and then we go back to light, and we draw more light, and we do that 3 times. And once we have enlightened our sensory field, we then go with the word peace. So we place all our senses at peace by going peace, 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 and peace. And finally, we then complete this reset, daily reset, with light. And what we do is we do the full being. So our hands go out as high up as you can, and you just, through your entire being, you go light, 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 light. And this outer triangle is actually your light field going all the way to the earth. So this is how you open the light field and how you open the sensory field. And then we go to the balance 4 steps, which are specific for stress management. Okay. So now let's just do the opening of the light field and sensory field together. Okay. So we'll do it once, just one cycle with our eyes open, and then we'll do the 3 with our eyes closed. So your hands go high up, as high up as you can, and you go light, 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 peace, 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 and finally light, light, light. So this way we open our light and sensory field. So now with your eyes closed, and we will do it 3 times for each. Hands high up, we go light, 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 light. Peace, 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 peace. And then the full body, light, light, light. And then you can open your eyes. Short but very powerful way of opening your light and sensory fields, okay? So these are the first two steps. Then we go to the stress release steps. So if we do the stress release alignment, it will start with light, just the way we did. Then we will go to peace. We do that 3 times and we will pause for peace. So when you pause, once you've done the 3, we pause with our hands together like this and we just keep repeating peace, peace. So we're kind of internalizing peace throughout our being. Then the third is to release all negative energy. So there we will start from the center of our forehead and go in the sensory field, release, 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 release. And then when we pause, it's going to be release and cleanse, release and cleanse, release and cleanse. So that's the third. And the fourth is to invoke zero thought. So we'll start from there with zero thought, zero, 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 zero. And we do that 3 times and we pause and we keep repeating zero thought, zero thought, zero thought. Then we go to the 5th one, which is now to invoke clarity. So we'll go again to the sensory field and go clarity, 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 clarity. And then we'll pause for clarity. And finally, then we will have peace for the full being. So we go peace, peace, peace. And this is how we complete the alignment. So there are 6 steps. Doesn't take more than 5 minutes, but they really give you a chance to get rid of the negative buildup of energies, okay? So now, close your eyes and let's practice the healing alignment together. So, hands go high up and you go open the light field first. So, light, 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 light. Peace, 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 peace. And you pause for peace and keep repeating in your mind, peace, peace, peace. And then we go to release. Release all negative energy. So release, 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 release. And then we pause and repeat, release and cleanse, release and cleanse, release and cleanse. Release and cleanse. And then we go back to zero thought, zero, zero, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. You pause and repeat, 0 thought, 0 thought, 0 thought. And then we invoke clarity. So we go back to the center of our forehead and go clarity, 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 clarity. And we pause and repeat the word clarity, clarity, clarity. And then finally we do our entire being with peace, 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 peace. And you pause for peace, peace, peace. And then we can open our eyes. So it's a short technique, but what have we achieved? We opened the light field, we opened our sensory field and filled it with peace. We released all the negative energy that was built up in our sensory field and in our being from stress, so we released. And we did release and cleanse. And once we were cleansed, we invoked zero thought and took ourselves to that level of zero for a few moments, absolute zero. And then we invoked clarity. And so our entire sensory field was live with that one word, clarity, which is something we need when we want to deal with the challenges that are stressing us. And finally, we placed our whole body and full being at peace. So in these 6 steps, you're actually able to get rid of stuff that can be so damaging and cause so many illnesses. If you practice this regularly, you can just get rid of it. And I would recommend that you practice this alignment first thing in the morning or during the day as often as you wish. And if time permits, even at the end of the day. It's your choice, based on your convenience. But I would practice this alignment at least once or twice per day. So this is one important technique. So this is that step 2 we talked about with Sandra. So now we've learned the 4 steps of managing stress. We've learned the alignment. And then the next part we go through now is the meditation for stress release. And together is short meditation we will practice. You can practice it at the end of your day or first thing in the morning or both, okay? So let's close our eyes, sit back. It's a short meditation, but it's very helpful for cleansing ourselves from the effects of stress. So close your eyes and breathe freely. Let go of all your emotions, all your worries, all your thoughts. Just breathe freely. Be at complete peace. And I'd like you to imagine you're high up in the mountains, next to a beautiful lake. The sun is setting, the sky is crimson in color, the snow-capped peaks are turning reddish. The water in the lake is reflecting the reddish color of sunset. And you are standing on the wooden deck of a cottage or a cabin where you're staying. Beautiful, lovely wooden cabin, very cozy. And the wooden deck goes all the way into the lake. And you're standing on this deck and looking at the water in the lake. Take a moment and just look at this beautiful sunset high up in the mountains, with the lake reflecting all the colors of sunset. Connect with the nature. And then you look at the ripples on the water and the waves on the surface. And you pray, you seek to make these waves and ripples go completely still. So as you look at the water in the lake, you repeat, stillness, stillness, stillness. Keep repeating the word stillness as you make the water go completely still. Stillness. Stillness. The water on the lake is completely still. You are in pure stillness. Everything around you is pure stillness. And then you turn around and you see your favorite rocking chair in the cabin, in the porch. And you sit on your favorite rocking chair and you look at the still lake and the snow-capped mountains and everything reflecting the colors of sunset. You are in pure stillness. You are completely calm. And then on a stool next to you is this golden cage. And in this cage are countless little colorful birds. They are tiny little birds. They're chirping away and swirling around the cage so fast. It's pure chaos in this cage. Each of these birds are like thoughts that are stressing you, that are making you spiral. And so you decide to release all these birds and you decide to empty your mind of all these thoughts. And so you open the cage and you let these beautiful, colorful birds fly away, chirping away as they go, until they are all gone from the cage. And the cage is completely empty. And you repeat the words, release and empty. Release and empty. Release and empty. Keep repeating these words as you release all stressful thoughts, all stressful energy, and empty your mind completely. Release and empty. Release and empty. And your now mind is completely empty. All the noisy thoughts, the stressful thoughts are gone. Everything is silent, pure silence, as you repeat the word silence, silence, silence. All of nature around you is silent. You are pure silence from within. You are pure stillness. Silence, silence. And now you seek to cleanse yourself from all the damage. Cleanse and heal yourself from all the damage caused by the negative, stressful thoughts as you repeat the word cleanse, cleanse, cleanse. Keep repeating the word cleanse, 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 as your entire being is cleansed from all the negative thoughts and energies that resided in you a few moments ago. Cleanse, cleanse, cleanse. Cleanse. And you seek to heal yourself from all the damage done by the negative energies of stress as you repeat the word heal, heal, heal. Keep repeating the word heal as every cell in your entire being is healed. Heal, heal, heal. All by the grace of the Creator. Heal, heal, heal. Heal, heal, heal. And now you seek to invoke clarity. Clarity in your mind, your thoughts, your entire being. Clarity, clarity, clarity. Clarity, clarity, clarity through which you may be able to deal with all your challenges that are causing you stress. Clarity. And finally, you seek to invoke the blessing of peace. Peace in your entire being, in every thought, in every element of your being. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. Your pure stillness, pure silence. All your negative energies of stress are gone. You're cleansed, you're healed, you're filled with clarity and peace. And you may be able to take on all the challenges of the day that lie ahead. You may open your eyes when you're ready. So this meditation brings a lot of peace, brings a lot of calmness, brings a lot of healing. And I would recommend maybe first thing in the morning, last thing in the night, practice this meditation. We will have it produced in video, so you'll be able to listen to it and then practice it on your own. But give yourself the opportunity to release all this built up negativity. Don't let the body fail and illnesses, overcome you before you start to do something about it. This is a great way to prevent ourselves from falling ill and to maintain a healthy life and a good quality of life that we all deserve. So, with that, I'd just like to share the one final technique, which is that 1 minute stress management technique. We have practiced this technique before for releasing anxiety, depression, fear. Now let us use it to bring peace and clarity through which we can manage our stressful events. And you can practice this anytime during the day. But as you remember, your index finger and thumb, you create this circle. And you wish to fill this circle with peace and clarity. Peace and clarity. Peace and clarity. And you keep filling this until it's completely full, and then you open and you let go of peace and clarity to your entire being, to your surroundings. It's a very short technique, but very potent. So close your eyes, and before you close your eyes, let's start with filling the circle with peace and clarity. Peace and clarity. Peace and clarity. And now close your eyes and continue to fill it with peace and clarity. Peace and clarity. Peace and clarity. Keep repeating these words for another few seconds. Peace and clarity. And the circle is so full now of peace and clarity, and you open your fingers and you let the peace and clarity flow through your being, flow through your surroundings, flow to everybody around you. Peace and clarity. And you can open your eyes. And this is a good way during the day to take that 1 minute. Take your mind away from everything that's stressing you. Create peace and clarity. And you'll find that it's a very useful reset button. And you go back to the problem you were dealing with. So I hope today that we've learned some useful techniques. I think the 4 steps are very important. And I think the alignment, the meditation, and the 1 minute stress management technique, if you can work with them, then hopefully you'll be able to maintain a good state of physical, mental health, well-being, and live a great quality of life, which I pray be a blessing for all of you to experience. And with that, I'd like to conclude today's session. I'd like to thank you all very much for being here, for bringing your light, your positive energy to this group. And we look forward to seeing you all in a week's time when we will have just the meditation, 20-minute meditation, like we do once a month. But in conclusion, I'd just like to conclude with a prayer that the light of our Creator may always be with you, to help you, guide you, protect you, and love you always, and love your family, and be with your family and loved ones always. Every moment of your life be filled with light, pure light, and the blessing of light. And that you may all keep rising and rising and rising further in your spiritual journey to reach that final goal that we all as souls so dearly seek to achieve. So stay blessed, keep smiling from the soul, and be happy always. And great to have you all together. Thank you.